Well, I have all my irons sandblasted off of this DoubleTree that goes on this Yellowstone Park 8-passenger stagecoach. So this evener itself is 5/4 inch and a quarter by 4. I have a piece of hickory here that is a little over 4 inches wide. It is 5/4, and it's just long enough to where I think it'll work. Well, this edge of my hickory is straight lined, and if I lay my old evener bar on there, you can see that the leading edge is not straight, but it is actually recessed by maybe 3/4 of an inch. So this is where the clevis went that holds the staple to the singletree. This curl here goes back to the axle, and this is where the stay chain is. It keeps this evener and this whole DoubleTree assembly from going too far forward or backward. So it's a little tough to tell exactly how much wood was past this clevis, but I'm going to figure about an inch. About there, and it's just rounded off on the end. You see, this is the rivet that goes through that reinforces these bolts. So you can just see the remnant of the holes here that bolted this clevis into place on this end. So that should sit right about there. And so if I come out another inch past, I need to trim this off in there somewhere. So it looks like from center of the clevis to center of the clevis, 51.5. That's an interesting measurement. This seems to be what it is. So my overall evener is 55 inches. So the end of my evener wood looks like it needs to be 2 3/4. And I am about 4 inches at the center. So now it's quiz time. I'm curious. So many of you watch all these little details and you pick up on things that sometimes I don't even realize are there. But there's something that I did on this evener that I showed at first, and then if you notice through the progression of this, something changed. Any of you catch what it was? It has to do with these clevises. When I first put this on, this new evener, I'll bring it back so you can see it, but I put the clevis that is on the right side on the left side. Why is there a right and a left? It has to do with the curl of this stay chain hook. So when I put these two ends on, something started nagging at me, so I went back to the last video and I zoomed in on this side. This was the only side that was still intact. The other side was disconnected. But as I zoomed in on this, I noticed that this curl went to the inside of the coach. The one on the axle went to the outside. So that's one of the cases where these videos are advantageous to me to be able to go back and say, did I remember this correctly? Did I have that right? In this case, I had to change them. Is it a big deal? Well, I think maybe it is. With the hooks going in the opposite direction, my speculation is they would less likely come off of the hooks. Speculation, but it's one of those little details that makes it authentic. So I took them off and I swapped them. I don't know if you picked up on it or not, but I just thought I'd bring that out. So I made the evener out of hickory, and typically single trees are hickory also. There's a few that are being made today that are being made out of ash. But what I have is wagon single tree blanks that are made out of hickory. These were 36 inches on this coach, and I have two 36-inch blanks. Now a wagon single tree is built kind of on an oval shape. But it looks like these single trees on this coach are round. So I need to turn these down. I have 3 of the ferrules and these hooks that go on the end. I have to fabricate the 4th. These ferrules are on a slight taper. I'm going to try to use a piece of 1.5-inch pipe, and I have a small mandrel that I think I can heat that piece of pipe up and put this taper into it. So this is the piece of Schedule 40 pipe that I cut off. It needs to be 1.5 inches long, but this is straight. I have this mandrel that I actually use when I burn the holes for the ends of the bolsters on these heavy feeding bobsleds. And it's going to work just right if I do it correctly. Heat this ferrule up, I should be able to expand that and put this taper into this ferrule. The swage block that I have has multiple sizes of holes in it, but none of them are really the right size for this. So I've set the jaws on my vise here, and I'm just going to use it for my swage block and kind of rotate this around after I heat this up pretty bright and see if that will make it work. Well, I'm going to try that one more time. The closer I can get to the top of my mandrel. This is 1.5 inches, and that's close to what I want. I'm a little shy of that yet, but we're gaining. Well, this is what we ended up with. You see the taper on this. The large end is really close to the original, as well as the small end. Going to be a pretty close match. If there's one thing that's going to be different, is going to be in the thickness of the wall. These old ones are a bit thinner than what I have. I'll have to debate whether I put that on the lathe and take the inside out. We're pretty close. If I look at the OD, the old ones are 1 3/4. I'm also 1 3/4. ID, right at 1.5 inches. My new ones are 1 7/16 inches. 1/16 of an inch difference. Well, this only has about 1.5 degree taper, and it won't take much to open it up, just that 1/16 of an inch. Just under. One more pass. Inch and a half right there. I don't think these are all 100% the same, because if you look close at one of these, you can see a forge weld right here. So if these were handmade and forge welded, they aren't 100% the same like they were machined anyway. This one really stands out. The other two, not quite so obvious, but they have a little lump right here where I'd say that's probably where that forge weld was as well. So maybe a little above and beyond. I don't know. It didn't take long to play with it. Anyway, I got some single trees to make. Appreciate you coming along. Thanks for watching.